Hi everybody, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, we have some news on the Star Princess as she has finished some of her sea trials and has gone into dry dock. We have Royal Caribbean Group announcing the retirement later this year of its longtime visionary Richard Fain. We'll talk a little bit about his career with Royal Caribbean. While we're on the topic of Royal Caribbean, we also have some news about the Wonder of the Seas and how she's making some renovations on board. So certain venues are going to be closed, and those venues are closed to the most highest level passengers. And finally, we're going to talk about the Crown Princess, who's on a world cruise right now and has run into some trouble. She ran into some wind that caused the ship to list to one side so dramatically that they had to turn the ship around to make sure it got stable enough before continuing on, and the rough seas look like they're still going to continue. So let's talk about the Crown Princess. She's currently on a 117-day world cruise, and it just left earlier this year, not too long ago. It's on its way to Adelaide from Sydney when it ran into some rough seas, rough weather. Normally that's fine. The cruise ships are built to handle rough seas and they try and steer clear of most of it. But what happened in this situation is that they encountered on one side of the ship 45 knot winds blowing on this side of the ship, and then suddenly 50 knot winds from this side of the ship, which caused the balancing system to make it list to 6 to 7 degrees to the side. At no time was the ship ever really in danger of tipping over or anything like that, but the captain immediately set the course to turn the ship around away from the rough seas that they're at and balance the ship out before continuing back on to Adelaide. Now, no passengers were recorded as being injured. Nothing about the crew members or anything being injured. It was all good news. However, there was some collateral damage. Things like, things on shelves, glasses, plates, purses in the stores, etc. all fell over. And it was so severe that they did shut down a lot of the cruise during this particular time. The casino was closed. There was no performances in the theater. They shut down bands, live bands playing. All these kind of things all of a sudden stopped, but have now continued back on the ship. It's just for a safety reason, just in case these shifting winds happened again. Now, unfortunately for the Crown Princess, it does look like they are still going to have some rough seas going all the way into Adelaide. Let's hope it's a lot more smoother than what they just experienced. Now, Wonder of the Seas. Wonder of the Seas is adding something that a lot of people have been asking for. They're expanding on board the smoke-free casino on the cruise ship. They have one now, however, it's very limited in space. Well, they're going to be moving and expanding it into the Crown Lounge, which is where you have Pinnacle, Diamond, Diamond Plus people all get to go and spend time in there, have a happy hour, etc. Well, on June 22nd, that is closing until June 29th while renovations are going on, and so they obviously won't be able to go into the Crown Lounge during this time. This is something that people have been asking for, and because there's still a casino open, although it's not smoke-free, but you can still go to the casino, no real compensation is being offered for anything. It'd be hard to choose who in there. I guess it would only be really your Pinnacle people, but then people say, well, I can't go into the smoke-free casino, I want compensation too. So they're just not going to give compensation to anybody. It makes it a lot easier. But speaking of Royal Caribbean, long-term, and he's been called the visionary of Royal Caribbean Group, is retiring later this year. He's stepping down as chairman of the board, and he's done a lot of things. Richard Fain has been with the company in this position since 1988. That's a long, long time in this position. Since in that time, he's done a lot of things like helping to purchase Celebrity Cruise Lines in 1997, as well as Silver Seas in 2020. He was the visionary and helped design the iconic, groundbreaking Oasis-class cruise ship, which redesigned mega cruising across the world, right? With the neighborhood themes, etc. They were the first ones to come out with this. Now everyone's trying to copy them, right? With their designs that they're coming up when they're building these mega ships. They designed it, they spread out the people on board, and people loved those ships, absolutely. And he was very instrumental in doing all this. Of course, he was there through the pandemic, helping to reestablish the cruise line after it, relaunched after the pandemic. And then it's now bringing out the brand new Icon class ships. And he's also helped design the next one coming down the road, the smaller cruise line ships. So yeah, he's going to be missed. He's been like the face of the cruise industry in Royal Caribbean for a long, long time. But I wish him, a happy retirement and long health and enjoy life with the rest of his family. Richard, you really deserved it. You did a great job running Royal Caribbean. Some things I didn't like, but you still did a great job running the company. No one likes everything everybody does all the time, right? But I'd have to say, he really did shape Royal Caribbean Group. Next, let's talk about the Sun Princess. And the Sun Princess has finished up its preliminary sea trials where they, tested all their systems out. They made sure that the fuel system, LNG, was running properly. And now it's gone back into dry dock and it's getting some finishing touches before going back to the shipyard again and being completed before being delivered later on this year to Princess. And I have to say, she is looking, there's nothing like a brand new ship with, it's just sparkling. It's just shining. The hull is brand new looking. There's no rust on the sides at any point. It gleams in the sunlight. There's nothing like a brand new cruise ship. And I can't wait to see what the Star Princess looks like in December. So there you go. How would you like to be on a cruise ship in rough seas and you get hit by winds from one side steady and you're compensating for it and then all of a sudden, bam, completely on the opposite side of the ship? That would catch anybody off guard. It would certainly shake up a lot of people. A lot of people said they were pretty nervous, but the ship, like I said, did not list more than 6-7 degrees, which is very manageable for a cruise ship in any weather. So nothing to be really afraid of, but shocking if you're on that ship nonetheless. Well, I hope you appreciate this update. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.